Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone. Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, bringing your weekly local marketing industry update. Now, next week's LMS member call is going to be Wednesday, August 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to thank everybody that's listening to the live call. If you're listening to the recording, you won't have the opportunity to get your questions in, and we want to be able to start sharing my desktop and getting into some member challenges and whatnot. But this week we're going to be looking at a couple of different things. We're going to be having a discussion in regards to load time and how to get your website to load at least 50% quicker. We're going to have a discussion in regards to how the transition of desktop to smartphone searches is happening. Finally, we're going to take a look at the 2017 mid-year local search ranking factors and what may have changed in the last 6 months or over the years. And finally, I want to profile and highlight a big success of a Local Marketing Source student that is getting national press coverage.
Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter @ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Look, Josh and Dean started with Local Marketing Source a few years ago. They had a full-time job, a job, 0 clients. They are now running a 30-plus employee local marketing organization. They are billing well over $250,000 a year, doing over $2.3 million in sales. They started with Local Marketing Source, went through the program, followed a lot of the fundamentals within the program, and are now driving some nice cars, have some nice homes. And what I wanted to share in regards to some proof, let me share my desktop here. They made it to the Inc. 5000. This is their second year in a row that they've made it to the Inc. 5000. This is one of the fastest growing companies in the United States of America. And this was a really nice post that Josh had shared with the Local Marketing Source community. And he just says, I can't thank you enough for your training, your coaching, and your support. Here's a fact. I was still working a job with no idea how to do SEO or run an agency until I came across your training program. You gave me the foundation, the confidence, and the blueprint, not only to go out and get clients, but also how to execute for those clients and get them great results. Thank you very much. Well, Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to share that. Dude, it really means a lot that you share that. Local Marketing Source is my hobby business, my side business. I get a lot of gratification from helping others. I feel like I was born to be a servant. I get the greatest thrills out of helping others. So it really means a lot to me that you've taken your time to share that. And you know what, dude? Congratulations. I wish I had little sound effects that we can do. Share, woohoo. All right, so we're going to take a look at load time right now. And I'm going to go turn on my air conditioning and grab a drink of water for a moment here. When I talk and I get going on webinars and I'm not on camera, I like to pace around. And, can I reach it? I can't reach it. And, motion creates emotion, I think. I think that's why when I get on a stage and I start talking, I can't stand in front of a podium or whatnot. But when I'm on camera, I forget sometimes that I'm looking at a camera and having to do a live presentation and have a discussion, and sometimes that camera is a little intimidating and sets you off. I've now become a little bit more accustomed to it, a little more used to it, but it's like I do video for my clients, and we'll go in and we'll shoot testimonial videos for individuals. So I've got to coach individuals how to get through looking at a camera and not being shy and being able to just deliver from your heart. Showing that emotion. Well, load time is becoming more and more important. As a matter of fact, I probably should rearrange my discussion here. And I'm going to jump to how traffic is changing. And today the reports are indicating, where's my notes on this? It's 57% of all local traffic is now going through mobile and tablet devices and not desktops. That's a big deal. What does that mean? Well, more users are on mobile, so the mobile experience is becoming more and more important. And so I have this client, and over the last 60 days, we've noticed that their mobile rankings are dropping, but their desktop rankings are not. Their mobile rankings are not dropping for long tail keywords, but they've only begun to drop for their core terms. It's a dentist. So dentist in town is the core term. Well, with the increase in traffic on mobile now at 60%, inevitably their analytic data has dropped even more than just the overall traffic, if it was at 50%, as it has been for a few years. So we had to look into what are the issues here. And when we started with them, a lot of dental practices are paying big bucks in the tune of $200 to $300 a month for a hosting and website. And these companies get them into a contract, and they happen to take ownership of their domain name and take ownership of their content and say, we'll get you a website, we'll get you listed. And I see that Tisha's having problems, but Efren seems to be on the line. I'll just continue. Tish, you'll be able to hear the recording as we get through. In any event, when we're looking at this particular client, we were dumbfounded because the citation counts were there. We had solid 74% of the top 50 citation sources. We were hitting about 80% accuracy for all citations that were out there. They were getting reviews. They were positive reviews. They were organic reviews. We were creating content on their blogs, and we were getting this published. But it became a little dumbfounded why the core term for mobile was dropping, and we started to take a look at their website. Well, their web host company deals with dentists and has a content management system in the back end. And so when we did on-the-page factors for this client, we were restricted as to what we can do. You know, if we were embedding a video, we didn't have the functionality that you would within WordPress to integrate scripts, iframe scripts from reviews. It was challenging to communicate with this firm. We couldn't get caching plugins. We couldn't get image optimization plugins. You know, they've got 860 images throughout their site of varying sizes, and you know, if we wanted to optimize those with an image plugin, it's a couple of presses of a button and walk away, and 2 hours later it's done, versus taking each image itself. And so the fact of the matter is although their website and their web provider CMS allowed for the website to get the little check mark to be mobile friendly, when you start to dig into a lot of the mobile components of that site, they were not getting the satisfactory check mark. And so they were showing the client, they said, look, your website's mobile. When you look on a phone, it changes. It's mobile. Look, when I go to the Google test, it's mobile. And we had to dig deep and demonstrate to them, well, there's a little bit more to it than just that. Okay, so there's a Google mobile-friendly tool, but there's also a tool within Google Webmasters that looks at the crawl functionality of mobile sites, and it gives you a lot of information. And what we covered out was, number one, you know, this website didn't have any caching capabilities. Well, that was inevitable. This certain host didn't allow that. And what caching does is it allows returning visitors to store information on the computer, so when they come back, they're not having to use bandwidth to load that data. It's loading right from the computer, and it makes loading a lot quicker. And so search engines like to see that for definitely for mobile users. Number two, there was no image optimization on it. There were some images that could get 200 to 300% compression. Whoever built that website was just throwing up 400 kilobyte images. So it was very, very redundant from that fact. When we started to look at the whois, it was identified that that host was the registrar of that particular domain name. Well, that's a very valuable citation to have for a business, and to make sure to show that the business owner owns that domain name. But when you see a particular company, and this company by the name was Televox, that did that. And so looking at even those factors in itself, it was very clear that they did not have a very good mobile site. When you look at a lot of the different factors for mobile, they want to see less content on it, less words, they want to see more bullet points, they want to see fast loading time, they want to see a different navigation, an easy navigation. In other words, get yourself familiar with mobile factors. When we went to the W3C validation tool to see what the HTML code looked like, it was amazing how many different errors that they got and how many different warnings that were within this code. In other words, the code was shitty, and they were putting this out there. And when I asked them, I said, "You're probably paying $40-50 a month for this," and they said, "No, we're not paying $50 a month. I don't know what we're paying, but it's well over 200." And I said, "What are you getting for 200?" Well, the client couldn't answer. They said, "Well, do they host our website?" I said, "Okay. Do you want me to show you? Your domain name was registered from a company called Enom. Let's go to Enom. Let's look at their hosting packages." And the guy looks at it, he goes, $20.95 a month, that's it? I said, "No, Doc." I said, "See this one here at $5.95. This is the one you need. You're not going to use more than 200 gigabytes of data in a month." And he said, "Well, what am I getting for 250?" I said, "You tell me." So what they're getting is they signed a 1-year contract at $250 a month, and they were going to get a 5-page website built for them. Well, after that year is over, they continue to charge them. That was 3 years ago at $250 a month. I said, "So what are you getting right now?" And they said, "Hosting and support." I said, "Well, what's the support for? You call me to update your website." He said, "I don't know." And so I'll let you know the results in about 6 weeks once that site is launched and everything propagates. But I'm pretty confident that's what it was when we started to look at the trends and ask ourselves, okay, nothing else is dropping. Nothing's dropping on desktop. Nothing's dropping on long-tail keywords, but trust is being lost in their core term that's getting the majority of the traffic. Why? Why would Google not want to send them over here, but they don't mind sending them over here? Obviously, because the user experience over here is not as strong as it is over here. Simple business questions. And that's changed. So page loading time is very important. And you can just go to Google and do a search for paid loading site or test or something like that. And there's 2 or 3 that will typically pop up. Pingdom is my preference, and you want your mobile pages to load in about a second, and your desktop pages to load in less than 2 seconds. Is where you really want to get to for a small business. That's not it's not that difficult to get to. There are some plugins that I talked about last week that will help you get that. Image optimization is very important. Good quality code, reducing the amount of plugins that you have on your site, optimizing all the particular images that are within that site, ensuring that the site is readable, and caching functionality essentially are the factors, the main factors that that go into page loading and the importance of that. All right. Now, page loading is a factor for on the page. And I'm going to share my desktop here and show a little graph. And these are, our industry is not regulated. It's a defragmented industry. Johnny down the street to the MIT universities of the world all claim to provide education for search engine optimization, and they all have different opinions as to what the Google algorithm ultimately is looking for. This is a collaboration of many different experts and just marginalizing their opinions on the different ranking factors. So you've got to take this with a grain of salt. It can't be the end-all be-all. And, you know, next year the experts are going to say something different. But this is a good particular guide to follow along to get ranking on Google. Now, I don't necessarily agree with it all, but I'm going to point out some of the elements on here that that are relevant. We looked at 14% of the weight of your ranking is everything that's on your website. That's feasible. The argument's always been 80-20, that the 20% of the weight is for on-the-page factors, and I would argue that this is likely higher than 14%, possibly more towards 20%. The reason for that is over 50% of local traffic users end up going to a particular website. Half the traffic goes to a website. So website usability and functionality inevitably is important to a user if over 50% of the traffic goes there. And page loading has been a factor for the last couple of years that has become more and more important. It is absolutely one of the factors that experts agree on that from 2015 to 2017 has increased. About 12% in its weight has increased. Google My Business is sitting at 19%. Okay, these are factors within Google My Business to make sure, number one, that you've got images in there. Images are important. The images represent about 13% of this weight. I should turn off my email when I'm sharing my desktop. And I see here, I could probably move my logo up too. There, I put my logo over top. I should probably move my logo up here when I share my desktop. Let's go right there. What was I saying? Talking about Google My Business. Make sure that you got the proper categories that are in there and the subcategories when possible. Making sure that you're utilizing all the characters in your description, and make sure that you've got your core terms and your core modifiers within the description. Don't keyword stuff the title tags. Reviews are an important aspect of it, and the integration of Google Webmaster Tools into your site, and making sure that you're following all the prompts for that. These are all important factors. Obviously, have your listing claimed. It's not likely, 19% is likely high, but it's still an extremely important aspect. Citations, they've actually gone down from 2015 to 2017. The weight of citations has gone down, according to experts. I would agree that it has decreased over the last couple of years, at least the weight of it. It doesn't mean that citations aren't important. It's that we've put a lot of weight into local SEO and citations and disregarded a lot of links. And internally within my firm, we're going back to some of the principles of organic SEO a little bit to analyze link authority and link exposure. It's not that our strategies have changed. We're a marketing company, and what we do is we create marketing content that resonates. In our quarterly plans, we have discussions of press releases. These go out to local newspapers, and then they get printed, and then they link back to our website. These are going to generate links and exposure and citations. Citations within this graph here, in my opinion, is misleading, because this should say profiles. This should say profiles, because links, having a link back, is another web page that links to this website over here. Well, what if they've got the domain name, but they don't turn it into a link, and they've got the business listing and whatnot, and it's the local newspaper? What do we call that? Is that a citation, or is that a link in this graph here? Well, it's neither one of these two by the definition of this report. But by definition, it is a citation because it is a web reference. It does get the value of a link because it's on a third-party site, and it's not a directory site. And so the aspect of profiles and citations, in my opinion, is well over 30% of the weight, or 1/3 of the weight of ranking as a minimum. Reviews is another element that has gone up as well over the last couple of years. And aspects of reviews that are going to help the ranking. There was a point in time that the local SEO world said reviews have zero weight of ranking. I argued that from day one. And what reviews do, you could see here that social is about 4%. Well, social and reviews could also be tied up, because the aspect of the velocity of reviews, the consistency of reviews, the geographical service area of particular reviews all tie into the social aspects and behavioral aspects of users within a site. Behavioral aspects in this graph here could also be tied into social, because behavioral aspects are the amount of likes, the amount of shares, the velocity, the quantity, the quality, the spread, the geographical spread of particular content. So reviews, social, and behavioral aspects are important. In other words, we call that engagement at Local Marketing Source, and measuring different aspects of your engagement. And that leaves the remaining 10% of personalization. And personalization could be broken down and could be thrown into any one of these categories in terms of unique content and having a unique flair for yourself. One thing that video that one of my dental clients, I just had a meeting with them yesterday, is going to do is they're going to use a jaw retractor. Make your mouth look like this, and then take bubbles and try to blow bubbles for the fun of it. And they're going to get the staff to do it and have a mouth retractor bubble blowing contest. That's personalization of content. So, looking back at some of these factors, this is something that you can download. And again, every business is going to be different, and take a lot of this with a grain of salt. But keep in mind that what are the search engines looking for? They're just looking for good businesses. They're looking for businesses that have measurable factors that have made businesses grow throughout the course of history. We want to eat at busy restaurants, because if they're busy, they tend to have good food and good service. It's that simple. So I call this the busy restaurant syndrome. How do we make dentists look busy on the internet? Create exposure, create marketing material, get it out there, create engagement, have them listed in all different areas that they're going to be, make sure that there's consistency among their brand. It's pretty straightforward. So that comes to the end of this week's call. I can see that my stream is a little bit better. It seems to be getting better every single week as we're tweaking all the different settings and the quality that I've got. It looks like the quality is still pretty good. It looks like the frame rate's good. My CPU usage is running at 65%, not at 100 like it has been when it crashed. But I'd really like to get some further engagement from members, and get back to the point where we are looking at some of the challenges that you're facing. We can log into or share my desktop or log into your desktop, whatever it takes, and share all of that. We've got the technology for that. And I think it's official at Local Marketing Source. We're going to be moving the weekly calls away from GoToWebinar officially and keep them on a live stream of sort and figure out the sorting of content for that. So on that note, I'd like to end this call and thank you. And we will talk to you next week. Have a great week.